Hello. So I'll be reading stories to the baby. Let's go. Bedtime for little bears. All little bears love to snuggle down in their beds at night and go to sleep. When their little heads are on their pillows, they dream of honey and cake and teddy bear games. But before they go to bed, little bears must have their baths. And some little bears do not like to get their ears wet. Once there was a little bear called Barney, who really hated his bath. His father tried everything to make bedtime fun. He bought a huge boat for Barney to play with, but Barney complained that there was no room in the tub for him. So Barney's father bought a bottle of the biggest bubbles of Come on, Mama, you gotta sit down and listen. So Barney's father bought a bottle of the biggest bubbles you have ever seen. In fact, it was fairly difficult to see that a little bear at all. The bubbles floated and sparkled and burst with a pop. But Barney said that they tickled his nose, so they had to go. 3 yellow ducks, a water wheel, and some stuff that turned the water purple didn't work either. Oh my goodness, it didn't work, Penny. Okay, so let's see what he did next. One day, Barney went for a walk with his granny. As they walked, it started to rain. Luckily, Barney was wearing his boots and Granny was carrying her umbrella. But right away, Barney started to complain. Oh, she grabbed my shoulders. I don't like getting wet, he whined. It gets in my ears and in my eyes and up my nose. It's horrible. Well, Barney, I am surprised, says Granny, that you would want to give up all that good luck. Good luck, asked Barney. What do you mean? I thought all little bears knew about it, Granny replied. Didn't you know that every drop of water that touches you is a little bit of good luck that will follow you all your life? I always try to get as wet as possible, and Granny threw away her umbrella and started to splash in the puddles. The next night at bath time, Barney's father was surprised to find that Barney jumped right into the tub with no fuss at all. In fact, it was so difficult to make him get out and snuggle down in his little bed. And I have heard that nowadays, Barney is the luckiest little bear you have ever met and the cleanest. All right. You like that little story? Yes, you liked it. So, the moral of that story, take a bath. It's fun. You get clean, get out clean. And then you have sweet, sweet dreams. All right, story number 2. Big bears, little bears. Mama. You love Mama? I love you. One afternoon, Barney and his friend Cleo were playing in the park when some bigger bears came along. We want to play on the swings, baby bears, they said rudely. Get lost. Barney was not a very brave little bear, but he didn't want to look silly in front of Cleo, so he spoke up loudly. Barney was not climbing everywhere. We were here first, he said, but we could go on the merry-go-round instead if you like. We've been on the swings for a long time now. But as soon as Barney and Cleo were whizzing around on the merry-go-round, the bigger bears came along and wanted to play on that too. What? They weren't nice about it. Cleo didn't want any trouble. "Let's go and play with our kite, Barney," she said. "They can have the swings and the merry-go-round and everything to themselves." Barney agreed at once. So the little bears were playing happily. It was a windy day that was perfect for kite flying. But before long, the big bears began to run around playing ball. The park was plenty big enough for everyone, but they insisted on running close to the little bears. Barney was afraid that one of them would get tangled up in the kite string, or worse still, bump into him so that he let go and his kite went flying off by itself. Just then, there was a huge gust of wind. There was a huge gust of wind. And things happened at once. The big bear's ball blew under the merry-go-round, and the little bear's kite flew into a tree. Now neither the little bears nor the big bears could play. Barney was ready to start for home, but Cleo was a very clever little bear and had an idea. "You big bears are tall enough to reach our kite," she said, "and we are small enough to crawl under the merry-go-round and get your ball. What do you think?" The big bears shuffled their feet and looked ashamed. "We're sorry we teased you," they said. "It's a very good idea." So the little bears crawled and the big bears stretched, and everyone played happily together for the rest of the afternoon. That was beautiful. Moral of the story? Let's go to the park and have fun. Everybody just have fun. The park is big enough for everybody, Penny. Everybody. Alright. So you guys are going to read one more story, and then that'll be it. That'll be it for this video. I'm going to start reading more and more to my little baby, and whoever else needs a good afternoon story or a bedtime story, just click on my videos, listen to my smooth sexy voice. No, just listen to the story, and hopefully your baby calms down, your baby enjoys listening to the stories, and we just have a good time. So one more story. The Blue Bear. In a neat little house in the middle of Bear Barrel, there lived a very silly bear. The problem with Albert was that he always had to have the very latest things. He was so eager to keep up with fashion that when he saw his friends and relatives, he would say, "Oh dear, my cousin Jackson is wearing last month's jacket. Only 3 buttons instead of 6 on his coat, too. Poor Jackson, poor bear." To be fair, Albert's clothes were sometimes extraordinarily wonderful, but more often he simply looked extraordinarily silly. Each month, Albert's fashion magazines arrived in the mail. Usually they confirmed that he was the best dressed bear in town. On this particular morning, Albert couldn't wait to tear open the enormous package of magazines that had just arrived. But when he glanced at the covers, he gave a groan of despair. "Blue!" He said, "Blue! Blue!" Everything must be blue. It seemed that nothing else would do at all. Albert looked at his wardrobe with tears in his eyes. There were orange clothes and purple clothes. There were green and yellow striped hats and pink and black spotted socks. All of them would have to go. What a waste. He gonna throw away all his shoes. All his shoes and clothes to turn them all blue, to have everything blue. Okay. But that evening in bed, Albert had an inspiration. What if he could dye all his clothes? Then he would be the height of fashion without spending too much money. It was brilliant. That's him. Dyeing his clothes blue. Okay, let's see. Albert had so many clothes, he decided that only only the pool in his garden would be big enough to dive them all in. Luckily, there were no fish in it. Albert tipped in pack after pack of dye. The water became bright blue. Then he hurried to his bedroom to begin carrying out the clothes. She's trying to get the camera. But we must continue the story, Penny. To see what happens to Albert. It was unfortunate that he tried to carry so many at once. It was even more unfortunate that he had left a watering can on the path. Before he could stop himself, Albert was sailing through the air to land with a splash in the pond. That's how he fell in the pond with the blue dye, and he turned blue. He began as yellow. He's a yellow bear. You can guess what happened. Albert was dyed blue from ears to paws. At last, thought his friends, trying not to laugh, he would have learned his lesson about keeping up with fashion. But Albert's friends were wrong. Albert loved his new blue fur for a while. I hear now that fashion has changed and stripes are all the rage. Let me put it this way. You won't find it hard to spot Albert next time you come to Bear Barrel. So he turned out. He loved his fur. He embraced all his blue clothes. He back as the man. Tip. Have your own fashion. You know, do your own do. Wear what you want to wear. Who cares? It's your body. But thank y'all for listening to this read along with me to my baby girl. I will be doing more of these videos because we have so many more stories to go through. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, Fancy Pants TV. And we're out. See you next time. Bye.